We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So hello, everyone. This is the November 2nd, 2022 Pro Board meeting. In attendance, it looks like we have all of our members and 2 members of the public. So we will shortly, Andrea and Rebecca will be getting to discussing with you guys the Pro Board, so you don't have to make a comment now, but I'll say, is there any public comment? And unless you want to discuss something else, no need to bring it up now. Okay, so approval of minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the October Pro Board minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Any opposed, say nay. All right. Minutes approved. All right. So as you guys know, we currently have 1 vacancy on the on our board. We thankfully have 2 candidates who have applied to join on the board. One being Andrea Roberts and one Rebecca Anderson. So I'm just gonna basically pass the floor over to you 2 in no particular order. And if you don't mind, you could just tell us a little bit about yourselves and you know, what makes you interested in joining the board. So again, we'll just start with Andrea. So if you don't mind, just kind of let us know a little bit about you and what your interests are.
Sure. Well, hello, my name is Andrea Roberts. I moved to the area after college in 2006. My husband's family is from the area. He's born and raised in Landenberg. And his family is very involved in open space, and his mother was on the land trust for many years. And so I kind of got a little bit of an insight into, you know, kind of how she worked with the community. And I thought that was always like a very, you know, kind of cool thing to be able to be involved and to have some sort of say and kind of like what's happening in our area. There's so much going on, I think, that feels outside of our control. And I think having a say and wanting to participate in your community is a pretty important thing. I currently run and am in the process of taking over a construction and design company in Wilmington, Delaware. And so I feel like I'm very good at managing things and kind of just overseeing process. And so I feel like, you know, with that sort of background, it could be a good fit for me. You know, I guess I don't know entirely what you guys do, but I think I could be an asset to a team of people that are trying to get things done. And so I'm just interested. I think it's, you know, I think it could be a fun thing, a good thing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Does anybody have any questions for Andrea?
So you said you're taking over a construction company, and that which is great. Is there any conflict there where like your construction company wants to build on a lot and we're trying to preserve it type thing?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a great question. We have built several houses. I've been with the company for 15 years now, and we've built in that time 2 houses from the ground up, but really we do renovation. We renovate homes and, you know, Westover and Greenville, kind of right up and down the Route 52 corridor. And so really that is renovating and preserving, you know, these beautiful historic homes. It's not tearing anything down and starting over.
Oh, good. All right.
Cool.
And Andrea, if you don't mind me asking, I think your father-in-law is Kenny Roberts, right?
He sure is, yes.
Yep. He's a great man. I really like him.
So do I.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's being recorded, you have to say.
I promise you, he'll never watch this.
So I just have a question I'll ask both of you, but one big thing, we do a lot of different projects. We do, we've had trash cleanups, we've had a tree planting, we've done a garden installation. And then there's been events at Crossing Park. So a lot of it is with availability is a big thing, so I guess just like how do you feel as far as, your availability outside of coming to the meetings and joining, on projects like that kind of stuff?
Sure. I mean, I'm open to that. I, again, have family in the area. I have two small kids, 6 and 8, 2 boys. They go to the charter school. And so they certainly take up a bit of my time, but we've got lots of family in the area that are always willing to help, and they're always willing to tag along and help with things too, depending on what it was. And so I think I can always kind of make stuff work.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Anybody else have any kind of questions for Andrea? Okay, well, I'm not hearing anything. So thank you again. Thanks for joining us. So next up is Rebecca Anderson. Rebecca, thank you for joining us. Do you mind just kind of giving us a brief, synopsis, whatever, about some information about you and, what interests you in joining the board?
The Township right at the end of 2019, and then the pandemic struck, and I had plenty of time to go out and explore our area, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then I started working for my neighbors, Matt and Kathy Gowen. I've been running their food truck this past season over on Good Hope Road. So I've been working in the township, keeping it local, of course. And yeah, I just started going to school, going for a science degree at Delaware County Community College. So I was kind of looking at this whole thing as a huge learning experience for me. And yeah, I just thought it would be kind of great to be able to use what I'm learning in school, like towards fun park stuff, and being able to use what I'm learning volunteering with you guys towards schooling and whatnot. So yeah, not a whole lot of experience other than doing fun outdoorsy stuff on my own. Just trying to learn and help out as much as possible.
Nice.
And then as for availability, my schedule before, I worked on Saturdays, so I missed all of your wonderful events, much to my sadness and fear of missing out, I guess. But the new job I'm doing for the fall season, I do have weekend availability, and I should be able to attend everything.
Okay, cool. And we don't particularly try to just do the weekends. I know, like with the tree planting, the hurricane weather threw a big wrench in our plans, so it was very sporadic. So there are opportunities outside of, a lot of stuff happens on the weekends just because of people's availability, but there's other opportunities too. So you said you're going to school for a science degree. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what you're studying?
So yeah, I actually just started. It was a very spur of the moment decision about how I can further my availability to work outdoors and whatnot. So I'm going for a natural science associates over, at Delaware County. So I'll be studying biology, ecology, stuff like that. And the goal is to eventually transfer to Westchester University to get an ecology degree. So that way I can, just help a little bit. Help nature and whatnot, and be exposed and more outdoors and stuff like that.
Very cool. All right, well, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Well,
Rebecca?
Rebecca, it's kind of hard to hear you, but what did you say where you live? You said you go to Delaware County and you work at the food truck, but where do you live?
So I live right on New London Road, right on 896, just outside of the Kemblesville Village.
So in Franklin Township.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you, both of you, again for joining us. Basically, I think we're going to, how are we going to address this, Jeff? We're going to kind of think about it, and it's ultimately up to the decision of the Board of Supervisors who is selected. We would make a recommendation, but yeah, it'd be their choice. And I think you said they were going to make a decision within the next week or so. Is that right?
On Monday night.
On Monday night. Okay.
So Donna,
we can, Mhm.
Donna, is there a way like we could discuss this, or how can our group discuss it? Or
Yeah, Paul, it's a good point, because you should be able to talk amongst yourselves, right?
well, you know,
let me-
I know we're not affected by the sunshine rule because we're not lawmakers, but the exception is for discussion of personnel or legal items, right? And this is what I would say personnel, even though they're not employees.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not an expert, but I'm with you, Paul. I think it's you guys need to get together. I don't know if you do a telecon or do something, or maybe at the end of this, I don't know how you feel about the Phillies. Maybe at the end of this meeting, we close off the public section and you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, that would be my
That's
suggestion.
what I was gonna ask is it, could we
Yeah.
end like 10 minutes early and then talk about it and
Yeah.
stop recording?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, because I think you have to, and if you don't mind, I would like to sit. I won't participate, but just hear it, because that will help inform when we go in front of the board. So I can just listen to what
Yeah,
you,
Don, and then we won't have to repeat everything. You could just relay it for us.
if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I can
Okay.
handle that at the end when you're ready.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining us. You're welcome to hang on for the other topics. And then at the end, we'll kind of do our breakout session. So I'll move on. So just an update on the tree planting. I believe the last time we talked, we had gotten most of the project completed, but there was still the second section that was not done. So just an update that we did get through all of the trees. All 550 trees were installed at Crossan Park and Franklin Preserve. The tubes, the stakes, the nets. It looks like, I mean, Paul, you can give a better update since I was out of town when that happened, but it looked like you had a wonderful turnout. I think you said 25 people. It peaked at 25.
Yeah, that was the peak. Yep.
Okay. And thank you for getting all those great photos. That was awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else. I did want to say that we I'd like to look into doing the gravel for the mulch. I don't know where we left that with Matt. I think he was going to try to see if he could get us equipment to bring it over. Or
Yeah, I think it's unlikely we're going to get his help for this. You know, he had a hand injury, he's recuperating, and
right.
yeah, I mean,
So, I mean, we did budget for it. Should we order more and, use those funds and just have another, whatever amount delivered to?
no, I'd rather get a tractor. I mean, I could drive mine over, but it would take a day to drive it over there. But because moving the material by hand in a wheelbarrow, we would need another 25 volunteers. Like, it's that
Right.
painful. So having a machine and then just shoving out of the machine is much more efficient. But I guess it's just a matter of setting a day and doing it, but we've got to do it fast, because once winter sets in and the ground is saturated, the tractor would just tear up the area.
Right. And I believe,
especially it's a slope, so the
right.
slide on the slope.
And I also think winter, I mean, that's when I see all the vole signs around my plantings.
Yeah. I'm less worried about the mowed area in Crossan Park, because voles don't like to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
But the triangle area in Franklin, that's where the voles will be very active.
So we'll make that the top priority then.
Yeah.
So All right, so what do we, I mean, how do you want to,
We gotta
So-
just pick a day and make a volunteer event. I mean, we really only need 4 people or something. It's not a lot of people.
okay. And you think you'll be able to get your equipment there or,
Yeah, I don't have a trailer, so I have to drive it over.
okay. All right, well,
Paul,
Do you-
what size is your equipment? Like it wouldn't fit on a standard, like, the flatbed trailer we have. Like, does it need like a full-size trailer?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit on yours. The one I
Okay.
saw from the tree planting, it's too
Okay.
heavy for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it weighs like 11,000 pounds.
Okay, yeah, that's too big.
And I'm guessing, I didn't see the weight on your trailer, but it's probably a 7,000 pound trailer. So,
Okay.
I was thinking if there's anybody with a tractor closer, like Kathy or some of the other farms right around there, you know. I just live so far away, so no problem.
yeah.
Doesn't Heather have a tractor? Is Heather on? No.
I think Heather's on.
Oh, there's Heather.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather. You're on mute, but do you have a tractor we can use?
We have a front loader Kubota that the battery has been dead for the last few months and we have not been able to figure out how to access the battery. Swear to you.
Is it
Several,
how big is it though? Like, can it pick up gravel?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah?
absolutely. So if I can make some
Well, you live-
arrangements, it's been on my, we're at Peacedale and 841.
Yes. Well, I guess that's closer. Yeah.
Or a
Peacedale.
mile from 896.
And if that doesn't work for Heather, Paul, I think you and I can put our heads together for something.
Yeah. I mean, I know we have some money for it, but one of Jimmy's guys would probably be $800 for the day. And I'd rather use that to do other maintenance work with Jim's guys, like,
No, I'm not suggesting him, but
Oh.
I think we may be able to put our heads together with something else, maybe.
all right, you got a tractor in your back pocket.
Well, how many hours do you think?
I would say 4 hours for each area, so 8 hours total. Well, maybe more if, Greg, we planted 147 trees in the big area. We should really mulch them as well. So
Yeah, that was the original plan down there, yeah.
yeah, let's just say a day and a half or even 2 days. I've never done it with a tractor, but that's how all the professionals do it. And I watched how fast they did the 1,750 trees at the Keene farm. So they did that in 2 days, but they're professionals.
And that tractor or whatever tractor, do you think it'll fit between the trees?
Oh yeah, how big is it? Heather? It's what are we at? 10 or 12 foot spacing, Greg? I forget.
I think
Sorry, it's a pretty standard 8-foot bucket.
And do you know how many horsepower your tractor is?
You there, Heather?
She's asking.
Oh, gotcha.
I've been corrected. It's a 5-foot bucket, but it's a substantial. I'll let you know.
All right. But it sounds like it'll fit between the rows. I mean, most tractors are 7 feet or less, Greg. So, except the really big ones, like over 100 horsepower, then it'd be. Wouldn't
Yeah,
fit.
we did 11 feet. I think that's what we settled on.
Right. Okay.
All right, so hopefully we can slowly get that process going. Yeah, and other than that, I don't believe, I mean, I want to we have to update the grant company or the grant foundation, Duckstater.
Oh, yeah, like a finished report.
Right.
But there is, you know, the trees in the triangle area, they could use a little maintenance where some of the stakes weren't driven all the way. So it'd be good to just walk through with a mallet and do another check on the stakes. I think. So if anybody wants to volunteer, just walk out there and check the stakes. The stakes have to be driven down. The stake and the tube are the same height initially. So you should drive them 6 or 8 inches into the ground. That means you should see it 6 or 8 inches below the top of the tube. And if it's not that way, you can't drive it without loosening the zip ties. I saw people trying to drive it with the zip ties still tight, and it doesn't work. You know, you're just driving the tube into the ground. So if anybody happens to volunteer to do that, just please make sure you loosen the zip ties. They're reversible zip ties where you can just press the button and loosen them, and then drive the stake and then zip them back up. See, fun Saturday with the kids.
Yeah, I mean, I do plan on getting out there so I can at least, you know, do partial or, you know, see how far I get with it. But anyone else is welcome to join or, you know, get in there too.
I'll see if Tessa and Eric are available. I feel bad that I keep volunteering my family and I don't help, but I'm still having back issues and the doctors, and I feel bad volunteering them and I'm never there, but I could at least point out the ones they need to fix. So I'll see what their schedule is, but I'm just on I'm like on restricted duty. I can't do any of that stuff right now.
Facilitating it is just as good as doing it.
I don't know if you can convince my 15-year-old of that, but I'll ask her.
Yeah, just let if you do end up getting out there, let me know. So just so I don't, you know, try to do the same thing or whatever.
I will let you know.
Cool. All right. So moving on, Banffshire Bridge, have you made any progress there, Paul, with any of that work?
Yeah, really good progress there. 2 things going on. So this is the bridge from the parking lot to the trailhead, and you know, it's been in the works for 2 years or a year and a half or something. I have a grant for $5,500 for that, and or up to, it's half of the cost of the bridge, up to $5,500, and including engineering. So during the pandemic, I didn't want to be out there shoulder to shoulder doing this type of stuff, but now that that's over, the price of wood went through the roof, and so I didn't want to order it then. I wouldn't have had the budget, but now things are back down a little bit, and we just have to get going. I got an extension on the grant, so I'm good on that. And Jeff helped me order all the timber from Delaware County Supply. They're the only ones that carry rough sawn 3x8s for the decking. And he placed the order, and Jeff, I think it was 4 to 5 weeks delivery. I don't remember the delivery.
Roughly, sir.
Yeah, it's a long lead item. They don't stock it. They have to custom order it. So, you know, I guess early December we'll see the lumber, and then for the hardware, I priced it out in several hardware stores, and at D&J Hardware, it's a farm store near Quarryville. They have the best prices on hardware. So I went out there 2 Saturdays ago and priced everything out, all the bolts and nails and screws and everything, and priced it out by the piece. And then they wrote me up a slip, and then I gave it to Jeff. He's going to have the township cut a check for D&J Hardware. And then next Saturday, or whenever he gets me the check, I'll go back to the hardware and, you know, pick all the stuff and put it in my basket, and then I can hand him the check for the correct amount. Because since it's an Amish hardware store, they only take cash or check.
You'll have the check tomorrow by 4:15.
That's awesome. Yeah. So anybody wants to go to D&J Hardware this weekend, come on, it's going to be fun. So then the only thing I'm missing though is some large diameter bolts that are required to connect the bridge to the augured piles, the engineered piles that are already in the ground. The engineering drawings call for a 5/8 bolt, and none of the hardware stores have something that big. So I did find them at Lowe's. So I'm sending Jeff an email of exactly what bolts we need. We only need 12 of them, and then he can buy them for me, and then we'll have everything we need.
What's the update on the telephone poles? Have you been
So
successful?
with Jeff's insistence, we're trying to figure out a way to use the cut pole. And here's what I think we're going to do, Donna, is, we need the pole during the big spans, but since we move the edges of the supports in, we're going to use a short pole through the big spans, but it won't reach the very ends. So I don't think that's a problem. We can put some other sort of support in there, but the only difficulty or it's a downgrade, it downgrades the bridge so that a horse can't cross it now, right? If we have the center pole in there all the way, then a horse can cross it. Although I don't want horses crossing it, but they tend to do that, right? So I actually want to put a sign on the bridge that says, no horse crossing. We'll point them, they can walk through the stream.
Okay.
We'll point them around the bridge. But as a safety feature, we wanted the third pole in there, but it is in the long spans where it's needed for strength, but the last 5 feet on each end won't have a third pole in the middle.
So I know you had talked, I know you went all over this pole, but it just wasn't possible without it being an extravagant cost to get the poles that you wanted.
Yeah, I think Jeff's final price was like, was it 13 or 1400, Jeff, for one pole?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, which is great. So Don, if this doesn't work out, in the end we got to order a pole, I'll do that, but we're going to try it like this.
Well, you gave it a good try.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Paul, Paul, do you want me to still contact that person just to get a price out of curiosity?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And Donna, to get started, I want to go pick up the 8x8 timbers. That's the first thing we have to put down is 8x timbers.
Okay.
And they're in stock at Delaware Supply. So when I can find some time, I'll go up there with my own truck and pick up 3 8x8 timbers. But all the rest of the materials they're going to deliver and put it at the Township building.
Okay.
I'd rather have it there so it's safe.
Sure.
I don't want it at the bridge parking lot. And I don't want it at my house because then people will accuse me of taking Township materials. Right. So
you never know. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be good. We can get started on the foundation as soon as I can pick up the 8x8s.
That's great. That's very good progress. Good.
How was that, Greg? Was that a good?
Yeah, thank you for that. Much
Finally,
fun.
huh?
In my heart, I hope we find the poles. I hope you get the poles, the longer ones if you can. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
So then I also have some other news. In the preserve, in Bamshire, same preserve, the first bridge we ever built, which is I think 2010 or 2012, it has a few rotted boards where it seems like the pressure treating isn't holding up for some reason. Like pressure treated boards should last longer than this. I don't understand, but I replaced 3 of them a month ago or 2 months ago, I guess, in the summer. And now I saw last week that another one's broken. Somebody broke one. So I think we need to do some maintenance on that bridge as well.
Like somebody vandalized it or it just broke, you think? Or
I don't know. Last time a horse went across and broke a couple, but they're getting soft. Like they shouldn't be this soft at this time. So I think that's the next project is fix up that bridge as well. I mean, it's 10 years old. I think it should have lasted longer than that. But like I said, I feel like the pressure treating wasn't doing its thing.
all right.
I don't know this, but are there signs there to guide horses not on that bridge too?
No, but that bridge should be okay for horses if it was in good shape. But yeah, we should put a sign there as well.
So do you want Jeff to order 2 signs? I don't know how you get these signs, but for the horses, one for the new bridge and one for the bridge that's there.
Yeah, we'll have to make something up. I don't know if there's any standard sign like that, but there might be, Jeff. I'm thinking like a horse rider with a cross through it, and then like. But
Yeah, believe it or not, there's a lot of standard park signs, which would be the
Yeah.
white on brown. So I'll make a note and check into that.
but it's just a small one, not one that's like 3 foot tall.
Oh,
Just a
no.
little
No,
small one. But I don't want it to look like we're saying no horses in the preserve. That's not what we're saying, right? So it has to have like horses and a directional arrow pointing away from the bridge or something like that.
Right.
no, understand.
Yeah, if we
Well,
just put
especially if
horse,
it's weekend, the last thing you want is a horse crashing through and getting injured.
Yeah.
And a
so
rider.
I do see horse tracks and horse manure on the trail, so people do ride in there. Which is great. I think that's awesome. Okay.
All right. Well, I will move on then. So the last topic I had was the invasive Canada thistle at Goodwin Preserve. We've been working on trying to get that treated, or the process going of it getting treated. So I did get an update from Red Tail Restoration, who we hired to do the job. Let's see, what date was this? So on Friday, the 21st, he got out there. He spot treated the Canada thistle with 2.5 gallons of herbicide. He says he got the area south of 841 and west of Wickerton Road to the swale. So he said he covered approximately 1/3 of the total meadow by the main parking lot. He says, I could not investigate the meadow on the other side of the woods as someone was shooting out there, and he was afraid to go to that area. I don't know if somebody was actually hunting or just shooting guns.
Well, it
out.
is. I mean, there should be no active shooting in the preserve. It's not gun season yet, so someone hunting would have been using a bow.
Yeah.
But a neighbor could have been shooting, right? They have a right to shoot on their own property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I asked for more detail just to see if somebody was on the preserve hunting, but he doesn't know the property line there.
Yeah, and they should have had their tag on the board, but he doesn't know that. I was thinking we need an informational sign on all the boards to say what those tags mean, and to look on the hunting calendar and all those things. A lot of people don't understand that whole process. We have it in place, but we don't advertise it.
Right.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get off. So on that, so is the guy? Was the guy hand spraying, or how did you say he was applying it?
So he has like a backpack sprayer,
But by hand, right? So he walks around
like a hand wand that you specifically target the plants versus spraying everything.
And he's walking or driving around?
He's walking it.
All right.
Yeah, he said he thinks the spraying was effective, significantly reducing the thistle. There was as I also observed, there was a number of good plants around where he was spraying, which is the reason why we're doing it hand spraying and targeting just this plant, because ideally you get rid of that plant and the good plants will fill in versus killing everything, and then it's just a battle for whatever shows up.
So he left some orange flags around the perimeter.
Okay.
I'd like to remove them. Is he done? I guess is it?
He's done until spring.
Right, he'll come back in this, because you got to stay on it, right? In the spring,
Right.
you got to be looking.
Right.
And-
And
It looks dead now.
Right, it should be dead, right?
yeah, so we're done for until 6 months from now, basically.
What I don't want to happen is if we leave those orange flags because they have a metal stem,
Right.
and then they get all tangled up in the haymaking equipment that Hawking
Right.
uses, and then we get in trouble because his hay has bits of metal in it, right? That's
Not good.
When did you see? I'm just wondering, are they still out there, or do you think he?
Yeah, they
Okay,
were there Monday. They were there Monday. So
okay, so I could ask him to take those out.
well, not if he's going to charge us. I mean, I'll go take them out, but I
Oh,
didn't want
right.
him to say, like, if he's saying, "Oh, I was marking them, and now I'm going to come back next week and finish" or something, right? But if he's
Yeah.
done for the season, I'm happy to go pick them up.
Yeah, no, his idea is also to wait till spring at this point to continue on.
Right.
He's only spent half of the budget of what we asked him to spend. So he's, there's still leftover for spring.
And is he going to charge us for this so we can square up?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, he gave me he didn't actually send me an invoice yet, but yeah, he said we spent $375.
Good.
Yeah.
And just as long as we're on his calendar for the spring, because that's the key, right? We don't want it to go too far when it's like if he
Right.
puts us on and say, okay, when it's time, and he'll know, get out there and hit it again. And like you said, you have the money, and if you need more, happy to talk to the board about getting us money. I hate thistle, and it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, and it's definitely, if you leave it alone, it's not going to get any better. So.
No, it gets worse. Takes over everything. It's evil.
All right, yeah, so I can reach out to him and, just because I'm sure once spring hits, his calendar starts filling up quickly.
Right.
So yeah, I can reach out and just kind of make him aware that we do want to move forward on spring and get us on the calendar. I'm just seeing if he said anything else here that was important. Yeah, so that's basically it. Like we said, it's going to be a process, but at least we got the process going with it. So.
And $300 is not that, I mean, that's minimal, that,
Yeah, that includes the chemical and, the work and everything. So that's all I had. Does anyone else have any additional topics that they'd like to go over?
Yeah. While you were out on vacation, John Bishop sent a check in for a memorial tree in Crossing Park.
That's right.
And yeah, and Melissa sent it to us, and so I contacted John and met with him and his wife out there one day last week, and picked a spot. And Jeff, I put a stake with a tape on it, pink tape, down by the Octagon picnic table by the middle parking lot.
Okay.
That's the spot they picked. There's a Boy Scout tree not too far away, and so they thought the two of them would make a nice shaded area by the picnic table.
Nice.
So the trees are about 40 feet apart, so I think that's a good spread between them. And they're different types of trees. This is a red maple. And I contacted Clark Tree Farm or Clark Brothers or whatever they're called. Mm-hmm. And they said they're going to plant it on November 10th at 9 or roughly 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, okay. November 10th. And that's their last week of planting. But they said they don't plant after that because generally the ground is too soft and their equipment messes up people's yards. So I'm not going to be around at that time where I can go meet them. So I'm just letting the group know so that if they call the township looking for where to plant a tree, you all know. Go look for a stake by the Octagon picnic table.
Yeah, I'll pay close attention and locate that tomorrow morning then.
Yeah, so I don't know. I told them to call the township number, and then they have Greg's cell phone. So I think, Greg, they just usually text you, right?
Yeah, or call me, yeah. So did you say that the plaque was also ordered? Did Sarah?
No, you know what? I just assumed the office orders that. I did not do anything with the plaque.
No, they do. That's how we have done it in the past. I just didn't know if we needed to tell her or else.
What I would suggest, friendly suggestion, I wasn't on that email chain with the tree, but if there's something regarding the plaque, if you can make sure that Melissa and I get that, then we can follow through with it, please.
No, Melissa sent the information to me and it had the plaque request included.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
so it said, you know, in memory of, and two names. I don't remember the two names.
All right,
Which
so
is,
maybe.
which is interestingly enough, the two names are their dogs that they used to walk in the park.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
Oh.
Cool. They said they really enjoyed. They've walked there for about 15 years and really enjoyed it.
oh, that's awesome. So maybe we just need to follow up and confirm the plaque is ordered or.
Yeah. So, well, Jeff, can you talk to him in the morning when you get in there and ask him if they got the John Bishop plaque ordered, please?
Absolutely. I'll put that on my list.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Okay. That's, anyone else? Any other topics?
Well, I want to finish that story. Is that the wife commented that they had a relative pass away who lived in Pocopson Township. Am I saying that right? Pocopson. And they suggested to put a memorial tree in their Pocopson Park, and they don't have a program like ours. So the wife sent our screenshot of our website to Pocopson to suggest they start a memorial tree program like we have.
That's awesome.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Wow.
Yeah. So that was nice of her to share that.
Nice. All right, cool. Anything else? Anyone else?
Yeah, I had a question. Paul, when Eric went and trimmed that tree on the Keene Trail, he had mentioned that he was going to weed whack. Was that sufficient? Were you able to go out and check, or did they need to go back out and mow it?
No, he did a great job. Yeah, he got the heavy stuff to make it passable, but there's still some more mowing to do. And so, and there's some other trail maintenance needs. But for now, it's good, I think, for the winter.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just didn't know. He wasn't sure if
no, he
should
did great.
back.
And I didn't know if we've had a meeting since he did that, but thanks to him, everyone just, I put it out on the text that, you know, Eric went out there and did like
No,
three.
I wasn't. It just was more that he was just curious if he needed to follow up with you about mowing.
No,
And
it's
then-
great. Yeah, I went out there like the day after or 2 days later. And yeah, he did a
And
great
then you
job.
had mentioned about, I reached out to my daughter's school about volunteers. They're always looking for volunteer hours. Who would be the person to contact? Like, do you mind being the email, Paul? Because you seem to know what the trail maintenance needs kind of are.
Yeah, but what can the students do? Like, how old are they?
They range in age, obviously, from 14 to 18. But Eric wouldn't mind going out with students, but I guess it'd just be more like the school's going to want like the head person, like that would be the person who would be the contact. Would that be you or Greg?
Sounds like you.
Oh, okay. I just don't know if there's a conflict. Like, so like I can't sign off on Tessa's volunteer form and either.
Oh,
can Eric.
no. Yeah, we could find something, but like for trail maintenance, we can't have them out there with mowers, chainsaws, right? That's not going to work for teenagers.
Okay.
But like for the tree planting, that'd have been great to have
Okay.
teenagers out there.
Yeah, and it just was like too short a notice, and because the day kept switching, and I wasn't
Yeah.
doing my best. So, but in the future, yeah, like if you guys let me know, I could let. But I'm gonna reach out to the minister. I guess he's like the minister of service or whatever, to let him know that, you know, I'll get what information we need for future trail maintenance.
I think if they have a time or a period they have to do this, you know, bring it to this meeting and we should kind of brainstorm what we could have those
Okay.
volunteers do. I saw, this is another topic and related, is the hunting club was out last week in Crossing Park. I was out with that John Bishop guy showing him, you know, or he was showing me where the tree would be. And I see 6 hunters along the edge of the park where Franklin meets Crossing. They're trimming the vines and stuff, which is great, right? I'm glad they're doing it. I was just like, wow, I didn't know they were going to do that. So I know we lost Jim German as our liaison to this group, but I think between Jeff and Greg, they should at least contact somebody and coordinate what projects they're doing so that they're working on what might be our higher priority areas if they're going to do invasive removals, right? And just so that we know what's going on in the park.
Jeff, does the FSA contact you, or do they just do this on their own?
That's, well,
I-
like I said, we used to have Jim Derman, but he's gone now. We don't have a contact anymore. So, but I would think Bob, who coordinates them, he could let Jeff or Greg know, right?
Right.
What happened was before I left for vacation and then got sick with COVID, I did talk to Bob Magnus about cutting back some of those areas because our mower guys were complaining about it because I just asked them to take the grabbers and everything else back. It got delayed and then they just went out recently and did it. But I talked to them about that back in August.
So that's great, right? But now it's October, so maybe they could say, hey, we're going to reschedule that and go out this weekend and just let us know that they're going to be in the park with a bunch of equipment and volunteers.
Yeah.
Because
If I would have known, I would have told you, but I didn't.
Right.
The last time it was discussed was the end of August.
And we don't want to put it in a way that deters them, right? We want to encourage them to do that work. We're just asking that they communicate with you or Greg to let us know. And like I said, and then we can direct them to the high value areas. Because if they do it again, Jeff, my preference would be that they do the area around the new tree planting to push
Right.
back those weeds further from the new trees.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely some vines like the Crossin Park planting area that are pretty close to the edge there that could definitely need some trimming. All right.
Well, to finish Jennifer's question, what volunteer projects do we have to do besides tree planting? And so where I was going with that, Jennifer, is they could do that same thing the hunters were doing, is like vine removal along the edge, invasive species, cutting it back. It's hand loppers and stuff like that. It's not fun work, right? You need gloves and it's hard work.
So I could reach out to the gentleman at the school and just say, if they reached out to me, then, obviously myself and Eric would want to be present so that there was adults, if it's 16 to 17
Yes.
years old just showing up.
Yes.
And then I'll reach out to you and Greg and just see what you think like an immediate need would be.
Right.
But I think what's going to happen is like, we'll probably get a lot more people would want to do volunteer hours come the spring, because that's when they like are getting towards the end of the year and they need to get their time in. So, but in the meantime, Paul, if you don't mind, if I have Tessa email you, because it is a conflict,
Yeah.
they don't let parents sign off. So
No, that's fine. I can coordinate it. And then, but vine removal and invasive removal is best in the winter. You don't want to be doing
Okay.
the summer when it's in full
they're
bloom. Then you can't even see through it, let alone find the stem.
Mhm.
And then another project might be mulching the garden, the healing garden, right? I think we still have a big pile of mulch in the parking lot.
okay.
And Greg, I don't know where you stand on the mulch, but I think maybe around the edges still needs it, or
I think it should be good at this point. I think Jeff, was that mulch removed?
It was. We moved it to another spot because you had said the healing garden was done for this year. So
Okay.
Yeah.
to be able to get it out of the parking lot and look better, I moved it.
that's
Yeah.
great. But that's something to keep in mind, though, is that would be a good teenager job, is to mulch.
Okay. And again, it's just being hopeful that I would get anybody, but I think if it's something that Eric and I organize, we might even be able to get a bunch of Tessa's friends who are short on hours. So, but I'll start with talking to the school.
I'm still trying to think of other things they could do.
Well, let me get some names first and then we could work from there. It's kind of like the Boy Scout projects. We got to find them first and then we can come up with ideas.
Weeding in the garden is always gonna, well, not always, but I'm sure that'll come spring. We could use help with that.
And that is something they've done at some of the nursing homes. So there is a group of kids that, has done it at I think it's Maryvale or Marydale, so that there is some kids who have volunteered for that. So that is something that they probably might be more interested in.
Okay, cool. All right.
And then do we just need to end a few minutes early to have the meeting?
Yeah, unless anyone else has anything else, I think we can do that.
Do we still have the potential new people on?
I believe so, yes.
So I just want to say one thing is that we talk a lot about the park and tree planting and the garden, things like that. But there is another aspect that we don't do very much is the open space preservation, right? We're not very active in that. And that's something that we could really use help with. And you know, Mary started making a good list of potential properties, and we need to do reach out where we contact them or make a nice little flyer to drop off to explain what open space preservation is. How do you preserve a farm? What does it mean to the owner? You know, you always get questions like, well, that means people can walk on my farm and hunt on my farm. Like, no, it doesn't become a public park. It just means you can't build on it, but it's still your property, right? That's the very first question we get. And then what kind of compensation do they get, if anything? So all those questions to make a nice little brochure. And London Britain used to have a brochure. I always wanted to copy it, that we could pass out to anybody who has larger farms or larger land left in the township. And there's only a few dozen of them, maybe 20 or something. So that's what I would hope we move toward with this pro committee. As we get the parks under control, that will be our next focus area.
Yeah, I think
that's the O in pro.
That's right.
Space.
Yeah, we got to honor all letters.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, you said that, and I just thought of like the property behind me that just is now under new ownership, and it's a good sized lot. It's about 45 acres. So it's
maybe
good
the
to
new owners would be interested. Yeah.
Make them aware of the option. You know, you never know.
Right. Yeah. And for our pickleball friends, I was out on Saturday with that guy looking for the tree, and the parking lot was packed and the courts were packed with pickleball people. So they're getting use. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting their money's worth, which is nothing. All right, cool. Well, I think that's it, unless you guys have more. All right, well, I'll say, is there any additional public comment at this time? Great. Well, again, thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Rebecca, for coming and joining us and showing interest in the township and the pro board. We will definitely be in touch, and yeah, I would say, I guess within the next couple of days or so. Or no, I'm sorry, I guess it would go to the supervisor. So within what, a week, right around there. All right. Yeah. Well, should we adjourn the meeting and move to our little breakout session?
Right. What I'll do is, Greg, if Andrea and Rebecca can leave, and then I'll shut down YouTube, and then I'll let you know if that's all right.
Works for me.
All right.
Do we need to adjourn the first meeting though?
Put it in recess, Greg.
Meeting adjourned.
There you go.
Here.
Thank you. Looks like they